Hi friends, I'm back with another video and today we'll be discussing conditional loops. In my last video we discussed about procs, also known as procedures. And before that I have discussed about basics of Tickle, how to install Tickle and basics of Tickle. So if you want to know how to start Tickle and how to practice Tickle, please go ahead, watch those older videos and let me know if you have doubt in comments. Also, if you like my sharings, like if you like these lecture series, then please go ahead, like the videos, subscribe to my channel, and let me know your views in the comments. So let's start with today's topic, which is conditional loops. So not just conditional loops, today I'll be explaining you conditional loops in detail. Uh, but apart from conditional, there are other kind of loops as well. So today we'll be discussing tickle loops. So what are basically loops in tickle? It's a collection of tickle commands which can be used to control when and how many times a command needs to be executed. So let's say you have to execute a command for a particular number of times, or you have to execute a command when a certain condition is fulfilled. In that case, we use loops in tickle. As I told, these commands can be either conditional or to control a loop, to perform a command for n number of times. Now, how these are useful, where we can use these. So let's say if I have a flop where I need to reset all the flops at the same time, like in one go. So what I can do is I can just use a condition that if my reset is high, set flip-flops to 0. So that's a condition that if your reset goes up, your flops are set to 0. So that kind of conditional loops are there. Then let's say if there's a state machine which has different, it performs on a 0 state, on one state, on 0 it's power off, on one it's powered on. Then to write that kind of loops, we use these loops. Let's say I have to create a power grid in which I have VSS stripe and I have to create the stripe 10 times. Then I can use a for loop and I can set a condition that let's say I is from 0 to 10. Then from 0 to 10, it will count and put 10 VSS stripes in that area. So why are we using these codings, like these loops to make our coding easy? Okay, it helps in making our coding easy. Now, these loops, they have different keywords. Okay, so what kind of keywords and what keyword belongs to what kind of command, like what type of command will what type of loop we'll be discussing it here. So if and switch, these two, if is the keyword, if else, basically it's the keyword, and switch case, we call it switch case, but then switch is the only keyword here. Okay, these two comes in the category of conditional command, where one condition or a pattern is satisfied, the particular command is executed. Then to loop, when I say loop, it keeps on performing same task repetitively. That's a loop. Okay. So for each, while. These are the looping commands. They come in the category of looping commands. Then break and continue. They are the loop control commands. Sometimes there can be a loop which goes for infinite times, like it can run on infinite number of times. In that case, you may need a break command. Or sometimes you might want to skip a condition, and in that case, we might need to use continue. Okay, so the keywords are break and continue itself. Now we'll be seeing more details of these. I'll start with if, and in today's lecture, we'll be seeing if else and normal if only. And then in upcoming videos, we'll be seeing about the other commands in detail. Now, if else. As I told you, it's a conditional command, so it executes only when one particular condition is satisfied. Let me turn on the laser pointer so that I can point it better. Now here you see if is the keyword. Then we are writing a condition. This condition needs to be written in curly braces only. If you're writing in any other kind of braces, let's say square or the parenthesis, article interpreter won't understand it. So it's mandatory to have them in curly braces. Inside this curly braces, you can use other type of braces. Okay. But when you're writing if and then any condition, that has to be into these curly braces. Now curly braces start and then we are writing that whatever condition we are giving here, if that is satisfied, then a certain set of commands will be present in this body and that will be executed. If our condition is not satisfied, that will go into this else loop. So whatever we are writing in this else, that will be performed when our condition is not satisfied. Now it can be used in three variations. First, you're writing simply if keyword and then you're giving a condition and then the condition is getting satisfied. Then whatever return in the body is getting executed. Or it can be if else, which we just saw, that you're giving if a condition, when the condition is satisfied, it is executing whatever return in the body, else it's executing whatever return in the body of else. Now it can be if else, if else. The important point to note here is when we are using if and else if, then a third keyword comes into a picture, that is then. So we have to make sure that whenever you're using if, else if, then we have to use then as well. Okay. And in this case, you can mention n number of conditions possible. So if my first condition that is satisfied, the first body will be executed. Else if my second condition is satisfied, then whatever is written in this second condition gets executed. Else this one is the default. When both of these conditions or none of the conditions are getting met, this will be executed. Okay. For now, let's see example of these three situations or today I'll keep it crisp and we'll be seeing these two only. If else, we'll be seeing in next lecture with switch. Okay. So let's say reset goes to high and then I'm giving this condition reset is equal to 1 puts flop set to 0. Okay, here I missed $1 because I'm calling a variable. If you want to learn more details about it, please watch my older videos for that. N- Okay, one more issue with this. Now, okay, I'll tell you this also. So if I'm comparing it with number 1, which is a Boolean number here, then I'm using operator as equal to equal to. Okay, that's an important point to note. And let's say if I want to compare it in terms of string, then I'll show how to do it. Okay, first let's just see this, that if reset equal to 1 puts flop set to 0, Now, since we have already made reset 1 here in the first line, that's why my code is setting as 0. Like the answer that I'm getting as this flop set to 0. Whatever the value it is present in the body, the command which is present in the body is getting executed. And in body we have put flop set to 0. So that has been executed, and that's what my tickle interpreter is writing. So I was showing you about this operator. Okay, now let's set reset as x. Okay, and now put it as x. Okay, as we are comparing, it will only take equal to equal to. Okay, it won't take any other. Now, since my x is a small x and I'm writing here capital X, that's why it's not comparing, and you are seeing that nothing is getting printed. Now, why I wrote all these examples, like why I wrote all these, to just give you an idea here. Now, if you see, first we set reset to 1. Now, when I'm writing single equal to, doesn't matter whatever you're comparing it with, whether it's a Boolean number, whether it's a character like a string, if you are comparing, it always has to be equal to as the operator. This. Whenever you are comparing, it has to be this. N- No matter what. Now, second thing that we should be looking at, when I'm writing a number, okay, a Boolean, I can simply write it as 1. But when I'm writing a character, it has to be in double quotes, else it won't take. So this shows that you have to make sure that whatever you're writing, your syntax has to be extremely correct. Okay. So this was the example of if, simple if, where we were not using else. Now let's see a condition where we'll be using else also. Okay. So set x as 1 if x equal to 0, puts y, else puts n. I told you it has to be syntax wise, it has to be correct. Why am I doing same mistake again? Here it's because we forgot the dollar sign, and tool is not tickle is not able to interpret that this x is what, whether it's a variable, whether, see, it's giving you this sign that it has to be either a dollar or in the simple curly braces, or x has to be into parentheses, so some values getting associated with it. Okay, let me clear this. So if set x as 1, if $x equal to 1, puts y, else puts n. Now set x equal to 0. I'll repeat these two. Paste anyway. Now, when x equal to condition is meeting, it's putting y. But when I'm setting x as 0, the condition is not meeting. And hence, my interpreter is processing whatever I have written inside the body of the else statement. And hence, it is putting n. So we need to understand, okay, that whatever condition we are giving, and that condition should be either met in if or in else. If it's not meeting in both of these, my interpreter, it will just ignore the loop and it will jump onto the next line which is written in my code. Okay, that's all for today. We'll be seeing if else if with the switch switch loop, and we'll be giving you some more insights about it. For now, go to your home, practice tickle, practice these loops more and more at your place so that you'll learn more about them. Also, don't forget to like, share, and comment on this video if you're liking it or not, or if I have to change in my style of explaining things, or if I need to include other topics, or if you have any doubts, just put them in comments. I'll definitely reply back with either a video or in comments. And don't forget to subscribe so that you'll be in touch with the more videos that I'll be posting here. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.